Hello, my name is Madigan Honore, and I'm going to be describing the lesson that I have designed for a U.S. history course. It is the Cold War era, and the specific topic is the nuclear arms race. I have two objectives for this lesson. The first one is that students will be able to evaluate the nuclear weapons that were used during the Cold War era, or that were tested, not used. And students will be able to analyze how the nuclear arms race impacted American life. When students come into class, they will have a bell ringer to complete that will be about the previous lesson, and then we will have the anticipatory set, or I like to call it the hook. And that will be a video from the Cold War era. It's called Duck and Cover. It was designed for school-age children, and it's just telling them if there is a warning about a nuclear blast to duck under their desks and to cover their heads, which is obviously ridiculous, but it shows that people were scared. And there was a lot of hysteria during that time, and it really gets my students thinking and gets their foot in the door as to what it was like to be alive during this time period and scared all the time that at any moment there could be a blast. My instructional strategies are split into three different categories. There's an I do section, a we do as a class section, and a you do as a student section. So first for the I do, I'm going to give a brief lecture. It'll be 15 minutes, and it's just going to hit the major points of the nuclear arms race, the big names, the big events, big dates, and maybe the names of some of the major bombs that were tested. But things like the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff like that will be covered. After that, and again, that will take like 15 minutes, then we'll go into the we do as a class. And what we are going to do is go to a website that allows you to pick a specific bomb. So you can pick the Fat Man or Little Boy, and you can drop it on any city you want in America. So you could drop it on Chicago, on New York, on New Orleans, on San Francisco, and you can see what kind of damage it would do. But of course, Fat Man and Little Boy were not even close to as powerful as bombs that were tested during the Cold War era. So then we show them the big bombs and show them how much damage it could do to American cities. And students always love this activity. It really gets them even more engaged, and they're freaking out and they can't believe how deadly these things were, and they start to really understand why people acted the way they did during the nuclear arms race. The final part is the you do as a student section, and what students are going to do, they'll have a list of sources that they have to read. There'll be primary and secondary sources. They'll need to read and annotate those sources and answer questions about them. The answers to those questions will be used by me as a formative assessment. And for differentiation, I will have documents that are more simplified, and I will also give students annotation rules and guidelines to follow for when they're answering those questions and reading those documents to make it easier on them, because annotating is a huge and very useful tool to use when doing that. So that's what I'm going to do for differentiation. For the closure, I'm just going to once again hit those key points very quickly. I will explain the exit ticket and any homework that needs to be completed. And for the exit ticket, the students will have to answer the prompt on a Google form. How did mutually assured destruction prevent both the US and the USSR from using their atomic weapons? This will also be used as a formative assessment by me. So that is my lesson for that day, the nuclear arms race. Thanks for watching.